all right, here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I have a banger of a show lined up for you. Many questions. Get your Skittles ready. Get your drinks ready. We're going to hit this tonight. We have Quick Step, Cha-Cha, Rumba, some form and function, and I have 4 video reviews from you to do. Thank you for being brave enough to put those in to become an exemplary example of what to do and what not to do. Booyah in your dancing. Just kidding. You should see some of my old school videos. My God. So there is hope for us all. Don't worry. Now listen, thank you for being here, especially if you're tuning in live. I drastically underestimated the time between getting here and being live. So thank you for waiting. And if you have any questions as I'm going through this as we go, put them in the window and I'll get to them now or later as well. So without further ado, we're getting right into it. Here we go. Quick, why does it keep doing that, man? I swear to God, I did this earlier. I changed the default settings on all these cameras. So we're looking at, oh, I know why. You give me a quick moment. I'll flip this around. That's actually probably how it should be. Okay, so Quick Step. Now, this is a good dance like that we're going to cover because recently I've been studying a lot of waltz and a lot of slow foxtrot, and of course experimenting on my guinea pigs, aka students, and discovered a lot of great things. So as we go forward, I'm going to share what I learned with you to help you. Now, Ulrich, my man, you've been with me for years, Mr. Belgium, I like to call you. He has a quick step question for me. Now I'll read it out. It's quite long, but I'll go through this and then you submitted a video. So I'll basically read this question, touch on it a little bit, and then I will go in depth on the actual video a little bit more about what to do. Because you have to remember, everyone, what you say, what you submit as a question reveals a lot about you. All right. It reveals your knowledge. It also tells me where you're at. And essentially the words that you say reveal you, yeah? But the thing is with dancing is the question itself doesn't necessarily mean that's your actual problem. You have to remember this. It's something I harp on a lot with teaching, particularly because as you dance more, you learn the lingo, you understand more about what you're doing as a dancer so you can speak the jargon. But that doesn't mean that you can execute the jargon. It doesn't mean that what you're saying reflects the actual issue you have. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes the question you have, I won't answer it specifically because I don't think it's your problem. And the way I know that is by the videos you give me. Now listen, hey Vaughn, I have another quick step question for you. I was thinking about the forward swing steps, specifically taking those taken on a heel. Okay, so it's pretty much all the steps. Take our beloved natural turn as an example. Regarding these steps, where we control our level using the standing leg as we move forward onto the heel, is the contact pressure on the heel less intense in the quick step compared to the other standard dances? Straight off the bat, I would say yes. I find that when I tend to generate more drive or swing through this step, I feel like I'm often late with the required rise that follows. All right, hold on here, cool. Well, that was good. Could you shed some light on the correct technique and aiming for this, especially on how to achieve the necessary drive and still be on time for the rise? Okay, so it's a good question. It's an in-depth one. So I will come back to that. There's another part to this quick step question. I wanted to ask about the check step that, and I have it appearing in some of our tango and quick step routines. As the gentleman, I'm taking this step backward. Could you please explain the best way to lead this for my partner? Also the correct technique regarding sway and shaping on my side. I think you sent me the video of this. This would be good for you all to watch, actually. Could you also touch upon what my partner, the lady, should be focusing on during the figure? And importantly, what aspects do we need to coordinate together as a couple to make sure that we're unified as a dance as a whole? I was looking at some descriptions, particularly the contra trek from sources like Dance at Home, and I'm finding it a bit confusing, specifically how to transition out of the ending position and shape of the check. I'm going to take a giant breath here. Say done on the left foot, immediately going to another check on the right foot as the shape seems quite set. I haven't really gone to this figure in much detail in the courses, so any clarification would be good. Okay, cool, bang. Now, that was like 10 questions, but I'm gonna like condense this into a thing. So first of all, I'm gonna use your video to reflect on that. Just so everyone's aware, a contra check, which is this figure, let me show you, right? Contra check, okay. There, that's the contra check as the man. Right, and that's as the lady. and then it comes up into promenade. It's a promenade figure. That specific step is not what you're referring to. You're referring to back checks, which are also done in the tango and are done in quick step. They're actually not the same figure, and I have not put them in Dance at Home specifically because it is an advanced figure. So fundamentally, it belongs into a category of steps that you need to be, anyone can learn a step. Please remember this. In 15 minutes, I could teach any single step to any person. It doesn't mean you can dance it, right? That takes the lifetime of work to develop to it. So when you look at advanced standard of figures, such as back checks, just because you can, you know, do them in the sense of moving your body on time with the steps, it doesn't mean you can actually do them. So keep in mind that certain steps I haven't put in Dance at Home yet. I am considering doing advanced steps as a follow-on course at some point, but the vast majority of my audience are beginners and intermediate. So it makes it a little difficult. Hence why these Q&As are better, because then I can actually talk to you specifically about that problem. Now, if we look at the original part of this issue, which pretty much everyone's going to have in Quickstep, is these forward steps and rise. Now listen, think of it like this. Why do you rise in ballroom dancing? Can anyone tell me? Whack it in the window? Let me know. By the way, if anyone wants to come on live during this at the end, I'll put a little link in the window here. Maybe I'll try and bring a guest in today at some point. Okay, rising. What happens when you rise? So let me show this. If we look at the swing dancers. So for those who are new, here's the terminology, right? The swing dance is anything that involves rise and fall, so waltz, quick step, and foxtrot. All right, tango and Viennese waltz. Viennese waltz is not really a swing dance. It doesn't really swing to move, it rotates. So, and you lower. The thing is though, with quick step, right? Think of it like a fast version of foxtrot. So the way you rise and why you rise is because of the gravitational pull of your body weight out of the standing leg towards the moving leg. So let me show you. When I lower my body weight and I step forward on the right foot, there, my knee flexes at the end, that actually draws the back leg forward into the next step. So what ends up happening as a consequence of doing that is you end up straightening the leg, you know, at the end of the step. That pulls your body weight up through the toe, and that's your rise. Now at the end of that, depending on the step or how much you're rotating, in waltz, for example, when I go forward on the right foot, my knee bends, I straighten it, and then end up going sideways at the end and closing. In quick step, you will do that. You're just not going to lower as much. So I'm going to frame this for everyone real quick. When you look at improving your ballroom dancing, your waltz, your foxtrot, and your quick step, those three, you actually treat your right foot walks differently. So you actually use your legs in a different manner. Even though the footwork might be similar in a certain step like the natural turn, you will use your legs differently. So in the quick step, as I take that stride forward, which by the way is not a big step, I want to make sure I hit the beat, beat one, the beginning of the slow is there. And then as beat two comes through, right, my knee is flexed and my weight's going to collect. And what is most important here is that I swing up into the next step. Now, the thing about quick step that's different to the waltz is your natural turn is what we call a quick rise. So when you count it slow, quick, quick, your side step and close here, quick, quick has a very fast, what's it called? Rise and fall. So I go from that position, up, down. And now as my weight goes into that right leg, lift it up just a bit to really see your weight's good. You can then move into whatever the next step may be, spin turn, checks, whatever you're doing. The thing is though, what I want you to understand is the right foot walk is specifically a difficult thing for the beginner to develop, but for you as a more advanced dancer, it's something you have to know exists. So the right foot walk is how you will start every natural figure in the waltz, foxtrot, and quick step. And believe me, it's actually difficult to understand the differences when you first start, because they're like nuances, right? Between fine wine and goon, what we call in Australia is like this, what's it called? The bags of like cheap wine, yeah. So in the waltz, for example, when I take that right foot forward for my natural turn, I'm going to use my knee differently at the end, as I said before. When I do foxtrot, my stride can become longer, but I'm not going to bend my knee as much at the end, and I'll straighten it a bit earlier, right? So the two steps are different because of the actual dance and the movement I'm trying to create. And that's where people can get very confused very quickly and why I need to see your videos. So coming into some of these other questions about what should your partner do, etc., just be mindful not to coach your partner. Use your teacher to do that, unless you send her the video, right? But I will basically, for any answer like that, fundamentally, the lady needs to respond to any shape your body produces. Okay, so if you're, as the man, you're responsible for the timing, the CBM, the amount of swing, the amount of rise, the amount of fall, lowering, my God, the floor craft, which we're coming to later on as a separate question. You're responsible for so much, okay? The lady in kind has to know all of that exists. She has to know the routines, the timing, but she can't control that. She can only respond to that. So, and I've seen your quick set video. So when you create a shape in your body, if you're expecting more from her, you have to produce more, right? So you have to know exactly what your body needs to do a bit more of so she can then follow. Now, in the beginning of doing that, you might drastically change a shape that you're doing, like a back check, and she won't know what the hell's happening. She's like, what the fuck? And it might feel wrong, okay? So you might need to do something slowly and use a mirror and try to like sort of experiment as to what shapes look good and how much you can do. And then you just, you practice a lot at going into them. Okay, so let me get into this next little part and I'll come back to your questions in the actual video itself. Let's go cha-cha. All right, Frank, what's going on? Hello, hello. Now, listen, I appreciate all the comments you've actually been sending me and that you're in the masterclass recently. That's very cool. So his question, Yvonne, can you go through the New Yorker in detail, which includes weight distribution, technique of feet, arms and body movement, hips and the count? I have seen some great styles, not sure how it's broken down with the count. Okay, now I can't be here all night, right? But I mean, I have Skittles to eat and pizza to devour. So I've seen some great styles, but not sure how, and I want it broken down with the count. Okay, so New Yorkers are, or they're called checks as well. Common figure, right? So I absolutely can do that. Now there's three spaces, not spaces, but three parts to this that I'll talk about, which will be, you ready for it? Foot position. Holy Lord, hold on. Foot positions. My video just went weird. Is it all still there? Very good. My, excuse me 1 second. Make sure you say hello up in this chat window, and I need to just find where half of my things disappeared. Ulrich, what's up, buddy? Oh, thank you. Oh, cool. I just saw your comment. Thank you, Ulrich. What's going on, buddy? Check step. That is the exact reaction I got. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The counter. Cool. Okay, so, oh, you're talking about like your partner when you said, yeah, when you started teaching her? Okay, cool. Yeah, I know, man. I've been there. It's so tempting, especially when you're passionate. Like guys and girls, when you're passionate, you learn something. Like you want to naturally share it. Yeah, it can just get a little touchy when it's your partner in dance. Sometimes they can get a little bit confrontational. I swear, most people break up in dance partnerships because they can't agree on the way to actually dance together. It's not necessarily the results. It's the negotiations that take place in the actual movements. And oh, I think we should dance with this much energy in this step, or I should lead you less of this and more of that. And it's like, no, I disagree. And it's actually, there's so much of that discussion when you become a professional. And again, beginners don't understand this. Like I would say there'd be at a percentage, like 80 to 90% of the time that I'd be dancing, one, you'd never get through a whole routine in a lesson because that would not be the point. You would spend your entire time on one thing, and it could be something as simple appearing as how to hold a hand at the beginning of starting a rumba, and that entire lesson would be on how much energy would be in there, the connection developed before you step, and then stepping together, and that would be it. And that's not one lesson. This is like years of lessons, like in that frame, right? The same for ballroom. You might just spend. I spent 18 months in England just doing natural spin turns, right? Doing full reverse pivots. Very simple, fundamental steps, but making them good was anything but simple. It was incredibly difficult. So again, the fights can come from trying to work out what the best way to dance those steps are with the least amount of effort and friction. Yeah. Now come back to Frank on the cha-cha, and if you've got any more questions, whack them in the window there. Your foot positions, body action, and body turn. Now, when it comes to New Yorkers, actually this parlays well into what I said. You have to spend very serious amount of time doing New Yorkers. They are a difficult step. And again, people think they're simple because you learn them from day one in a group class. But to make them good, so there's certain figures that stand out in my mind. New Yorkers are one of them. I just put them into daily practice, and I would stand there and try to get my body to coordinate, lead it, make my partner do it in the window, create a shape, and then hit it again. And what I'd find, so Frank, I'll give you an example. Forget the technique for a second. Do a New Yorker in front of a mirror and do 3 of them in a row. See if you can actually hit where your lead arm is, where your right hand is styling to, and the shape of it. See if you can get that 3 times in a row, like in actual position, and notice how much of a Gumby you feel, right? See if your hand is like flipping off someone in the back. See if it's like slapping someone by accident, or you just look like a questionable man, right? So each time you'll notice that you do it differently. So the reason I'm saying that is because technique is one thing, but then the training your body to hit a position is actually key. So you want to have like a standard way your new my God, your New motherfucker New Yorker, the way that looks, it has to look the same each time. And the reason for that is when I hit one of them, okay, there, I want to know I can do that without any problems. Then you start developing that. You might take it up there, right? You might keep your weight back a little bit and then develop through it. Or you might end up going up onto your toes and then coming back down. So if you have a base one to work from, and then you've done that again and again and again, you have something to actually work from. And if you don't have that, you can't develop, all right? So the important thing is to be able to develop your movement. So in terms of the feet then, when you're creating a New Yorker, look at your feet, check them out, be like, all right, that has to turn out, okay? You need to get your foot to turn out, number one. How much should they turn out, do you think? Anyone? 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 1/8 of a turn, all right, very good. So if that's straight, and that's a quarter, in between that, a piece of pizza each. Got it? Piece of pizza is delicious. So as you create your movement and you step through, the first thing to get right is positioning your foot. This is how you do it. When I move my left foot through, number one, you turn the foot out with the turn straight away. So my weight isn't even moving onto that leg. So if I backtrack a little bit, the mistake I can guarantee you're making is everything is moving onto that foot straight away. And then the foot's probably turning out or something. So if you can keep your weight back, do it slowly, your foot has to turn out into that checked position. Once the heel strikes the floor, that's it. And that has to happen immediately. It happens at the beginning of the count. So it's very fast. It goes there. Once the heel hits, your back knee has to then check into the front leg. So those 2 movements happen at the beginning of the count. So it's 2. And do that until you are so bored of the cha-cha, go have a scotch, and then go do it again. All right? So you need this foot to do what? Bang. You do bang. Okay, try it again, because that is your foundation, right? Everything from the foot, ankle up to the hips is what I will refer to as your foundation. Once the foundation is in place and you understand where to place your foot, how much to turn it out, the actual mechanic of it, feeling the heel go down, then the back knee going in. With that foundation in this place, you have the upper body to now be able to position differently, okay? If you can't get that to become your habit, then the variety that you want and what you see in terms of styles, one, you can't copy it, and 2, you can never access it. So if we look at this again, I bring my left foot through, I'll just do it this way, ahead of the body with the foot turned out. My heel will strike the floor. As soon as that happens, my back knee will check into the front leg. Now, the hip is very important here. My left hip will displace, it will go up. And the reason for that is it actually stops my movement. The term check, think of it as the word stop. And so again, if you're doing a New Yorker incorrectly, you don't feel like you stop. What you feel like you do is you go, holy shit, and then you can't come backwards. Am I right? I'm right, I know. I know, because it's how I did it for like a long time. Because as I said in the beginning, you have to be obsessed about this step. You have to do a lot of them. Now, if we think about the check one more time, the foot comes through, the back knee comes in, right? The hip displaces. So in other words, the left hip will be up, the right hip will be down. Now, when I finish that position, that's all count 2. All right, now don't blame me if you think this is a long answer. So you asked the question and it's very in-depth, and you always have to remember, I make it in-depth so you can come back to it and actually study this figure properly. So listen, the foot checks, the heel goes down, the back knee comes in, all on count 2. Now let me ask you out there, where, over here, where is your weight held? I'll give you a second. Give you a second to think about it. There's 3 terms here, right? Minimal weight, part weight, and full weight. So if you are putting your weight completely on that front leg here, that's full weight, meaning there's 5% of weight on the back foot, yeah? Part weight is when you have your weight anywhere from in the middle of your body, so 50-50 between the feet, to basically your navel, like your belt buckle, being where your heel would be, like if you drew a line. That's part weight. You must have your weight there on your New Yorker. It's not the rule, but it's just, that's what a forward check means, yeah? Now, as you go through developing New Yorkers, you can put your weight more forward, you can go on the toes, as I showed before. But that's still all on count 2. I know even if you just understand that, putting your weight a little bit further back because of this knee, you'll notice that you have greater control over your speed and balance, right? I know that'll change your dancing immediately. So test that, let me know. Now, count 3, this is cool, right? Once you do your check, lower your back heel. Now, tonight in class, I always notice this issue, right? For the gentlemen particularly, they always forget count 3. They can understand 2, so 2 is forward, but count 3 is a whole beat of music. It's not half a beat, it's not a forgotten step, although it normally is. The back heel has to lower. That's a whole step unto itself, and then you can place your foot into chassé or whatever's next. So if I do a New Yorker this way for you, all right, so from here and then across 2, when my back heel goes down on 3, your right hip has to go out. So again, a big mistake is that people won't finish that step and then they'll bend their knees and then move out of it. So make sure you go back and commence turning your body to the left, okay? Now, I don't want to take it any further than that because there's a lot of information. So come back to me and let me know how that goes for you. There's another little bonus I can give you on the timing, right? So standard counts 2, 3, 4, and 1, yeah? If you put an and in between the counts, so 2 and 3 and 4, not to syncopate your movement, but to understand where your weight is, it'll change the game for you. So what this means is, I stand on my right leg, I'll do it this way. So that's count 2, yeah? So as I step through, this is going to be and 2 and 3 and. Do you notice what I did? So each half count, I was collecting my weight at different stages. So and 2 and 3 and that's how you can practice it. Now your free arm, again, we haven't addressed that, but just keep it out like port bras and open it. So and 2 and 3 and that mechanic alone, just do that all day. By the way, on both legs, no problem, okay? Send me a video, let me know how you go. Let's hit up the next question. Boom, where are we? We are here. Oh God, hold on. I didn't bring back the thing that I like deleted, which actually skips scenes. Let's see if this works. Okay, so, for the love of God. Dave, what's up, Dave? The Idaho man. Let's go. Vaughn, I don't have a video to send you this month. My partner is down for resting. What did you do to her? What did you do, Dave? What did you do? Email me. You danced too much, didn't you? My partner's down resting. The question is, could you review the basic rumba technique regarding Cuban motion? Yeah, I can, but what I'm about to teach you is only best done in private, my man, okay? So what are the best basic exercises I can do? Well, to be fair, so first of all, Cuban motion is for those who don't know, it's just the way that it is the fundamental motion of rumba and cha-cha, okay? If you do salsa, mambo, merengue, it's basic versions of that. Anything Cuban motion, literally just think of the word Cuba, all right? So it originates from there. So hip action is the key. Figure of eights, rotational actions, lateral movements. So it all means hips going sideways, hips doing figure of eights, right? Hips going up and down. So all 3D, right? Moving like that. So the easiest thing to do, and by the way, it's a really good thing to practice, especially just to keep your body fluid, is cucarachas. Cucaracha, right? A cucaracha is cockroach, okay? So you got to squish the cockroach. So when you're moving, you're going to squish the cockroach. All right, we go like this. Feet closed, part weight, boom. And then you rock the hips, close, change feet, and go to the side again. That is what I'd recommend you practice and do it every day. One thing people forget is that when you aim to improve your dancing, it's not actually just doing your routines, right? In fact, what is a better use of time in between practicing like routines is doing just like basic body actions, right? So this is one of them. Now, there's a lot in this, so let's just give it an easy overview. Before you step, what should you do? Anyone? Settle, right? So what that means, your weight goes down into your leg. As a reaction to that, your hip starts to move. And this is key because, again, everyone learning when they first start or been doing this for a while and looking at competition, they're so fixated on moving that you forget it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So if I move to the side, any donkey can just take a foot and put it to the right. But a dancer will dance. A dancer will settle the body, build up that energy, right? And then release it into the side. That is very important to understand. I don't give a shit about your age. In fact, I've noticed this amongst age. Age doesn't prohibit quality of dancing. It can restrict the like the flexibility and the aesthetics in a way, but the quality of movement isn't actually affected by like your age. In fact, I've seen young dancers, quote unquote, look absolutely retarded, right? Like they just look like heroin withdrawing giraffes, right? They just can't, their legs are everywhere, their body's too gimbally, right? They have no strength, so everything's just like these giant movements that look weird. And so, and likewise, one of the best dancers I ever danced with, she was a big lady. Like I was a bit scared. I thought she was going to hurt me. All right. So we were going to do foxtrot, and as soon as we moved, oh my God, she was so nice to move with and dance with. Okay. So the reason I say that is, uh, what's it called? Excuse me one second. What are you doing? Not you. Thank you. I'm back. I should be back. There we go. Thank you. The video went past. The reason I said that is because it's a bit of encouragement, actually. A lot of people worry that they didn't start early enough in their dancing, or they didn't get the right coaching, or they've danced for so long and haven't seen results, so they just sort of plateau, right? So they might be in the studio for 10 years doing group classes and feel like, oh, I've heard all this before, but they're not doing better. And so if you look at things like Cuban rocks, cucarachas, those actions in and of themselves, no matter how long you've been dancing, if you start to really work your body in a more specific way, you will notice massive results in your actual dancing, yeah? So here's how you do it. That settling action happens in the standing leg. When you move your foot to the side, you need your hips to go across and then pull back and rotate. Now the key to doing this, because I did this wrong for a long time, right? The why I did it wrong was I kept my legs straight. I thought you had to have straight legs. It's actually known as like a straight-legged dance, right? So when I would move to the side, both legs are straight. However, when I go to rotate the hip, I want to bend the knees, okay? So just give me a second because I'm just having a little issue with the, what's it called? What do you call it? This thing. Thank you. Okay, apologies, y'all. Yeah, that video thing's a little bit weird, but the knees would be too straight. So if you can flex the knees and get the hips to work, that's how you're going to create a far, far better action. Now, in terms of an exercise, put your hands on the wall, lean your body weight forward, and then settle into the left leg, and then right leg, and create that figure eight through the hips. Now, the whole time you do this, and you can see my body side on, you need to keep your weight forward. So if you drew a vertical line from, say, the center of your head, you need to feel that and your chest moved as far forward towards the balls of your feet, and then lean on the wall and keep it there as you do this. Now, in terms of your, now you're a member of Born Mastery Academy, right? And you're also part of the next level. Now, for those who don't know, the Born Mastery Academy is like, there's 100 lessons in there. It goes for 6 weeks. Born Mastery Academy next level, there's 200 lessons in there and it goes for 12 weeks, right? Now it's far more in depth. And one of the things in there I talk about is how to develop your posture. And there was like the sort of five areas of that. Go and watch that video, Dave, because as you do it, I need you to feel that your upper body is lifted into that position that I talked about in that video, and then do the figure of eights. Yeah, because anything you guys dance, you must always dance it with the best quality that you can. And it doesn't mean that you have to like over technicalize, if that's a word, your actual movements, right? You just have to do it with the right posture. This is that's what I'm referring to here. And then that way, as you move to the side, you can start to see the fluidity start to come through, right? And so that coordination then becomes like a habit. And so as you then start developing your rumba, whatever steps you're doing, you're going to be using that Cuban motion throughout your actual dances. And this is what I did. I had routines that I poorly did, and then I would work at these like elements, right? New Yorkers, cucarachas, and from that I could develop my arms, and I would do a lot of them, but I would always try to do them a little bit better each time I trained, or a little bit differently to experiment, right? So the last little thing that I need to mention about your experimenting is to have the balls to do it. A coach can only give you so much, and then you have to have the courage to make mistakes and go and focus on practicing in front of a mirror badly, right? You have to be able to go in front of that mirror, look at yourself and go, I don't like what I see, and that's okay. And start to work the body and work the position of your body in a way that's going to start to create the shapes that you want. And that's the courage you need to have, because a lot of people will wait between lessons to go and do that. They'll be like, I want to be told the right way to do it. And so I'll wait until next week for my lesson. And then I'll probably not get that question answered anyway, because we'll do something else. And so you're stuck at this certain space. Whereas even if I gave you 100% of everything you need to do on any step all the time, it wouldn't matter, because you haven't done the work to put it in your body. So you can't actually access what I'm talking about. And that's why you need to go and experiment with the movements. And the thing about having regular lessons that's important is that when you practice that thing, if you do look bad and you overcook it, which is the term that I like to use, if you overcook that thing you've learned, you get pulled back on track in your next lesson. So it's actually better to overdo something and then course correct rather than never do it, stay the same. Right? And this is literally how people become better at dancing, or they stay the same. It's very simple to understand. It's not hard, but you just have to have the courage to do it. All right, so exercise badly, that is my language. Ulrich, my man, listen, we'll suck at something, but you got to keep going, okay, my man? You're here, listen. You've been here for like 5 years, man. You're getting better, don't worry. It takes time, doesn't it? And the main thing is with dancing, do you know what's good? Dancing. It's fucking fun, right? That's the main thing. It's fun. It should be fun. And the pursuit of making it better should be fun, okay? Now, let me get in this next thing. For the love of me, for the love of God, I don't know where the hell this thing disappeared to, but yeah. My camera's been a bit weird too, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. Now, all right, next little bit, let's go. Form and function. Okay. So I have a more general question that applies to standard dances. It is about dancing when the floor is crowded. Often the dance floor is very full. Well, aren't you lucky? That's very cool. And we need to dance much smaller because the other couples aren't moving or there isn't space. My wife often reminds me we need to take up less room and take smaller steps. What are you doing, man? Are you hitting people? What is happening here? I feel restricted and I see that we lose a lot of the dancer's expression. My partner also tends to get tense in these situations. How can we work to continue to apply our technique, specifically maintaining the feeling and quality of drive, swing, and sway when we have to dance in such a confined space? Is there a way to generate that sense of drive without necessarily covering a lot of ground? What is the best approach? You'll need to condense your questions, bang, right? Run it through ChatGPT or something and like make it like a 1-sentence banger, okay? But I understand what you're trying to say. It's a good question. Actually, to be fair, like this is a good thing to understand for everyone. Floorcraft is a lost art. So what you're referring to is the forgotten art of floorcraft. And for those who don't know what that means, it's essentially being able to, let's say you have a routine, and then it's you being able to completely change the routine in terms of the direction and adding figures in between steps seamlessly to get you in and out of way without hitting anyone. All right. And unfortunately, like even in competition, people are so shit at floorcraft. They just smash into people and they go against the line of dance. So let's look at this in a bit of a structure, right? So first of all, we have a line of dance. So it doesn't matter the size of the floor, you have the line of dance. How do you find it? The man's right shoulder towards the wall, and it follows that around. That's the line of dance. It's a big circle, okay? Or in a rectangular floor, think of it as a rectangle. The point is, it goes anti-clockwise. So that is number one. Your movements need to be either zigzagging down the line of dance, so going towards the center, then back towards the wall, and turning corners, right? So you don't go against the line of dance. All right, that's number one. There's a center of a floor. So you don't take your steps, no matter how big it is, across a center. So you dance towards the center and then out. So sort of like zigzagging down the room, yeah? Okay, so that's number one. When it comes to floorcraft itself, it's a skill. So if you have a base routine, what you then start to do with that routine is learn to curve it. And this is a really cool thing to know. All of your steps, although they do have an alignment, say in ballroom dancing, we know we need to take a natural turn, diagonal to wall, and you need to finish it over here on the next bit. That's so you learn it. But fundamentally, and I'll show you this now, a natural turn is, right foot forward, left foot close, left foot forward, and then, right foot closes to the side, closes, and then you lower, right? The thing is, though, I can take that step quite strongly in a different direction. So even if that's diagonal to wall here, actually I'll do that. If that's diagonal to wall here, yeah, and I know there's a couple there, and I'm about to do like a spin turn there. If I lower, and this is why it's so important to understand, you'll have two legs. How you use the weight out of this leg into the next step matters, because I can now go, instead of there, if someone's in the way, I could lower. This is I wouldn't recommend doing it on this step, but what I'm saying, let me just demonstrate this. I can lower into this leg, strongly turn my body, and I can take the natural turn back over here, and then continue with my spin turn, right? And then sort of back into the routine. So what I did there is I didn't change the actual steps, I changed the direction of it, but I still did the footwork, still did the timing. And how did I lead it? Not through screaming in her ear, no, not by holding her too tight, by lowering properly and rotating correctly, right? And so, number one is learn to curve. So again, a fall away reverse pivot's a good example too. I could take my fall away, and again, it goes diagonal to center, or wherever it's going, but I could strongly rotate into that right leg, and I could take it to the center instead and do the same steps and continue on. So that's number one. And what I would recommend, I'm gonna have to fix that. And number one, I would recommend learning to curve the routines, because it's gonna teach you a lot about where your limitations lie in lead and follow. Especially you ladies, because a lot of you will shoot your leg out before the man's actually initiated where to go, because you're like assuming where the step is. And that's the difficulty of following, right? It's not easy to follow, and it is a skill. Now, the second thing you need to do is start to put in a couple of figures that help you get out of trouble. So for example, the change of direction is an excellent figure. And again, it's in Dance at Home if you want to check it out. It's a foxtrot figure, but it's really also a quick step figure. Sorry, I think it's quick step first, and then, yeah, we can use it in foxtrot. We can use it in the waltz too. The thing is, though, it's an excellent way to change direction quickly. So you can do an eighth of a turn up to half a turn. So if we look at the change of direction, I'll just see if I can use this camera for the moment, right? So it goes forward, side, and back, and then I step out. That's the change of direction, yeah? So for example, if I'm dancing the a feather in the foxtrot, you can do a change of direction after any of the feathers, and there's 8 of them, right? So most of your routines in foxtrot the steps will finish with a feather finish, yeah? So I can do a feather finish, and then a change of direction, and then go that way. Or I can do change of direction, half a turn, and go back on myself, right? And maybe do a contra check, and then go a different direction. So the point being is that thing is like super versatile, but guess what? Guess what? You have to be able to practice it. You have to be able to lead it. So this is why I'm saying, if you learn to curve things, you can start to develop your body in such a way that you are able to manipulate the shape of your body through your body weight and tell the lady where you're going versus actually literally telling her When that happens, that's where you have the ability to start to put in steps that don't belong in the routine. And because there's so many variations, right, within combinations and amalgamations of routines, that it's almost impossible to be like, okay, when this happens, I'm going to do that. But you start to get the lay of the land. So for example, think of it like directionally too. So as the man, you're going right and left with a lot of your steps, yeah? And so sometimes you want to change from right to left. So there might be a step you can do like a swivel or a reverse pivot that can quickly change you from going one direction to another. And so it's good to know where little things like that can hop in. Another step to learn is this top spin, which can be used in the, I'm pretty sure in the waltz too, but definitely quick step at foxtrot. And so the top spin is basically, think of it like a feather finish. So where are we at? So I'll take my left leg underneath and then I'll move out of it into almost like a feather there. So I take that left foot, watch what I do, back, and you notice how much turn I have, yeah? So it's really good. So if you're moving as a very crowded corner, you could swoop that leg underneath and then come out and then move. And we can do it in a quick step as well. The last part of it too is, okay, so I've just addressed something called floorcraft. Now let me address the other two problems that I actually fucking hate, right? When we look at dancing, there are different times to dance different ways, okay? In case no one's told you this, not everything is a show. Oh my God. And so not everything is a performance. Sometimes, this might blow your mind, sometimes you dance because it's good and it feels good, right? So you have to not worry about your technique, not worry about trying to make it look good or be better or enjoy the people watching you, right? Like if that's what you're into. Like I personally don't, I like to entertain, don't get me wrong, on a comp floor, but I don't really dance so people watch me, right? I just like the movement, I like the music, and I'll dance to many different types of music in different settings, right? So when you look at ballroom dancing, one of the things that I will not do is I won't put on a massive frame, get myself ready and dance to my maximum. That is for dance sport, right? Now, when I have coached couples on this, so I had a period where I've had like a few years ago, I had about 18 couples about a few years ago, right? And so what I would do is I'd have a competitor training night and a social, and it was combined. And then I had to separate the two because for the love of God, I kept telling the competitors, when the social comes on, don't dance like you're doing a competition. And like you'd think I was like speaking Arabic because they were like, what do you mean don't dance like a competition? And I'm like, you need to lower your arms, you need to bring your frame in, you need to shrink your steps, and you need to dance your partner properly and not hit anyone, you retard. Because these guys were hitting people that weren't even in my studio. And I was like, oh, it's so embarrassing. I'm like, guys, you're representing me, what are you doing? And so I'd watch them and I would try to show them. I was like, I'd go, okay, bring your lady in, okay? Have your ballroom frame, keep it relaxed, okay? Just like back in the good old 50s, yeah? Now, here's what you do with your steps, Ulrich. You start to do all the steps as you normally do. Just don't drive the fuckers into people, okay? I know, stunning, right? What this does is it pulls you off trying to make everything such a big deal. You might dance better actually doing this, by the way. You might notice less complaints or less issues in a way because you start to get your weight in the correct place. Because I'm going to frame it like this for you. And because I don't know who's coaching you, and I don't know what studio you're witnessing this at, but one of the biggest goddamn problems in dance sport is that first of all, you won't see a proper tango on a dance floor competition floor, right? Because why? Because everybody's trying to move, and now and swing is part of the issue. So you see swinging movements come in, and this is not like being a grumpy old man, like, oh, back in my day it was better. It's like, no, like fundamentally the issue at the moment that everyone seems to see when they watch dancing online is that everything's about progression. Now, the issue with progression is in dance movement, not everything progresses. We have non-progressive movements, semi-progressive, and progressive. So what the hell's a non-progressive movement? It's something that's not moving. Now, you watch a dance sport competition, tell me a moment in time where someone's not moving, right? So like a hover is not moving. But it's one of the most beautiful things you can dance in the waltz is a hover corte with an extra bar of music. It is so nice to dance, but it's difficult because guess what you have to do? You have to go back on one, start rising on two, rise on three, rise on another one, rise on another two, and come out on three. The whole time you're moving, but you're stationary, non-progressive. But it's a beautiful figure, right? And the lady can shape, and then you can come out. Semi-progressive are things like chasses, right? So they have a moment in time, they pause, or they're not like running, for example, they're not syncopated. Now look at waltz. Most waltzes are like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 now. They're running, 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 running. And so think of that. Think of that. So if you're trying to make everything huge and step and big, is that really actually good? Because now certain figures and combinations don't do that at all. They for example, if you do a double reverse spin, that is not progressive. It's on the spot, isn't it? And if you followed that with, I don't know, an overspin into the hover corte, that's not moving a lot. And the more you can keep that a little bit more controlled, the nicer it feels, the better it looks, the more power you can have in the spin. So if I try to make a step that is inherently not supposed to move a lot, and then I try to make it move a lot, you cause more problems because the technique has been figured out, guys. It doesn't need to be iterated by you or me. It doesn't need to be developed, right? So you don't try to make it something it isn't. And so when you understand those rules, your dancing becomes better. And this is the thing I was trying to stress about social dancing. When you go in there and you try to make it more social, I think you actually improve your dancing because the goal for you two should be to stay together the whole time you move. And if you can't do that because of your routines, because they're too advanced, for example, which is another issue, or you're making them bigger than they should be. When you shrink them and you try to focus on staying together as a couple, you have more balance, right? And social dancing offers that like ability. And I made this an intentionally long answer because I want people to go more onto crowded floors to dance, to practice floorcraft, but to also learn how to make your movements feel still just as beautiful being smaller and being more confined, and for you to start to be a bit more creative in how to approach that than just having an open slather basketball stadium floor to like move as big as you can, right? And I'll stress it again, not every dance moves, okay? And not every step needs to move a lot either. Okay, so let's look at this next part. So Frank, Mr. Frank, what's up? I've been dancing about 4 years. Terrible trouble. Not making a priority in his mind. Counting the steps. Okay, what's that? I have a lot to think about. Form, posture, feet, partner. While I'm starting the intention of counting the beat and being in time, this goes out the window as the other issues invade my brain. I can understand. How did you manage to get the count in your routine? And when did this happen for you and other dancers you know? Do some dancers just start with this technique, or does nearly everyone have to develop it? And is it only when you feel confident with the other issues you have to deal with? It's about time I got better. Oh man, listen. Be nice to yourself, okay? Really, really important. Remember the saying we have in this community, yeah? Progress over perfection, all right? We're all pursuing perfection. That's cool. You're never going to get it, so just come to terms with that. Progress over perfection. So in that space, all good. Here's what happened to me. Let me share it. Okay, so I had a couple of situations where I was on the dance floor. I knew my routines, but my weakness was counting my routines to music and then dancing it to music. That was absolutely a weakness. I was on the floor at this massive championship, probably two or 3 years into my competing career, and the samba comes on, and I'm like, no idea what this is. I thought it was like a cha-cha. Anyways, my partner's looking at me like, you gonna start? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Where's the beat? She's like, 5, 6, 7. She starts counting it for me. And I'm like nodding, going, cool, like trying to maintain eye contact. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna stay on time with that count. Because I can't hear that beat bouncing in the reverb off the walls, let alone I don't understand what I'm really doing with my steps, yeah? And so the thing is though, I found it embarrassing, yeah? I was really embarrassed by that. And that's good. This is where everything's important. Shame on yourself is good. It does help you course correct. I am for the proper amount of shame. And naturally so, my coach reinforced that, said, I don't know what the hell you just did. I said, neither do I, Penny, no fucking clue. And we sort of all laughed. And so I went from there and went, okay, how do I fix this? Now, I didn't fix immediately. And this is why I'm saying be kind to yourself. Just because you identify the issue doesn't mean you're going to fix it. It takes time. But what you do is, and this is where I'm getting to, is you've identified the problem. And what's the saying? A problem identified is already half solved. So your issue is counting. Okay. How often do you count to your dancing? So you have to answer that to know where to orientate. So if it's like, oh shit, like I barely count, well, there's your issue. Number one, always count your dancing when this is important, when you're not dancing to music. Well, I'll frame it a couple different ways. So I have a video on my YouTube channel, you should check it out. It's called Dancing from the Head versus Dancing from the Heart. What this means is that the brain, this is your electronic switching station, right? This is where you're learning, you're intaking everything. So consider it like software. And every time you do a lesson, you are upgrading your software, you know, like Apple, iTunes, all that sort of thing. You know, they come with updates, you're doing that. Now, whether that software is going to, let's say you download the information, right, in that lesson. Okay, cool. So you got the new pack of the next version of your dance self. You haven't installed it yet. You have not put it into your body. All right. So it is very, very important to understand that when you are learning, you're taking on the information, but you need to put it into your body, right? It needs to download into your body. When there's no music, that's where you need to be super analytical about what you're learning. So all that stuff I said about feet, technique, that's all you upgrading your software. When the music comes on though, you have to let everything go. You can't think about feet, technique, partnering, all of the analytical stuff that we hit on heavily because, I mean, I'm online. My goal online is I am teaching how-to content, right? So my how-to is not like, oh, do what you feel. It's literally do this specific thing and you will feel this specific result, right? Where the gap is, though, is when the music comes on, you train yourself to let it go. It's fundamental to your dancing because your ability to count to music is, as a staple, is going to make you better. Then you also have to know how to be on time without counting to music. And then when the music comes on, to not let the fact that you're, the counts are there and the technique is there, get in the way of you connecting to that music, right? So there's a triangle of dance. There's the music, there's who's watching it, saying this is competition really, but there's who's watching it. So maybe your teacher in this sense. And then there's you. So there's three of you. Who's the boss? It's the music, right? The boss is the music, not your partner, not your coach. So what happens with that music is we're all guided by that. So you have to listen to it. And when you dance from your heart, you let go of all the information you know, and you start to get right into that music. Now, if you've done everything correctly with your mind, right, dancing with all of the knowledge, so counting every time you dance, okay, consistently counting every time you dance, understanding the steps you're dancing and knowing what the timing is, when the music comes on and you let that go, you notice over time, it all connects and it connects automatically, right? So I would encourage you to figure out a way that you can learn to count and then switch it off and train yourself. This is what I try to tell my students is, okay, when I press play, empty your mind. You have to let it go immediately. Now, do they do that? No, it's a skill. And then eventually what happens is you start to just automatically switch between the two. So take that, run with it, see how you go. In terms of a practical exercise, do also what I did, and that is drive around and count the music in the car. All right, count it. So find the songs you suck at. Samba for me was so foxtrot, I could never hear the beats. And drive around like a weirdo and just count that shit. And just, as you're at the traffic light, just turn your head to the right, keep counting. Just make solid eye contact without blinking at that person. Just keep counting. And they're just gonna look at you with this mouth moving numbers and they're just gonna drive off, right? And just know you did your job weirding out someone, improving your dancing. Okay, next bit, we're doing a video review, then we're gonna finish up. Okay, thank you very much. Here we go. Let's get it into who is the first video here?
Up to bronze tango.
Hello, Graham. Hello, Elizabeth. What are you doing here today? Tango. Oh, we got a day of tango. Very good. So listen, I know what you need to work on. So there's a little old thing here, little old thing called CBM Pizzle, CBMP, baby. Where the fuck is it? Where's it gone? Come on, great. Your head's getting a little better. Not as like looking to the left for those chips all the time. But it's good to see a routine that actually has like good quality, like movement and basics, to be fair. So if we look at the idea of CBMP, what is it? Okay, contra body movement position. You have your feet, and of course in tango you have slight more of a right side lead and your knees are flexed. You take your left foot, for example, and you step on the line of the supporting foot. That's CBMP. Tango shouldn't be danced with your legs opening like that. You see that? So the majority of steps in tango, because we're not rising and falling, you have a lot of CBMP in your steps. So it's when your two tracks become one. That's the thing to think about. Now, a specific example of this will be the progressive link, which, by the way, is actually a difficult step. It's one of the reasons you don't see a lot of it in competition, because it's actually really difficult to do well. So, and also everyone's just running around the floor now. But the progressive link, okay, so quick, it has something called reflexive power. What we do in tango is we build up the energy from the thighs up. So when I create, but this is why foot positions matter. So if I step forward on my left foot with my legs open, okay, like a night worker, what's up? This is not good. And now I take my foot to the side. This is a terrible link. So Elizabeth, when you go backwards, yeah, this right foot doesn't open. You got to step under your body, turn the toe in. As the heel goes down, that's where you turn. You actually turn through the right foot and you place your left foot side and slightly back. Now you have to, now if you look at your legs when you do this, you're like out here and you're going bum, bum, like that. I'll demonstrate. This is what you're going sort of like done, done. Watch what I do. Take the right foot there. See, I'm in one line. The toe is turned in. As the heel lowers, you turn on that foot and you take your left foot to the side and back. Now, how do you know you're in good promenade position? Your feet are parallel. The knees can touch without you losing height, okay? Every promenade position you're in, your knees have to be able to touch without you losing height. That means you're too wide, yeah? If I do that and I go down, my promenade is too big. Why is that important? Because my first step out of promenade always has to be a strong walk. So if my foot's out here, I'm taking a midget step. If my foot is where it should be, I can take a strong, bang, powerful walk. I'll get onto rhythm a bit later. One of the things about tango we need to talk about is the use of what's called like beat value. Yeah. So, for example, in a closed promenade, slow, quick, slow. Just because you can count the timing, slow, quick, slow, doesn't mean you're actually rhythmically dancing. So we'll get onto that another time. What I'd like you to do is go through your routine and understand where your steps need to be danced with CBMP. Any single left foot forward walk for the man is danced in a CBMP. Then you have steps that have a side lead. And so in tango, your walks curve, they're not straight. So if you do 8 walks properly in a row, you will create a full circle, okay? That means you're stepping correctly. So I want you to go back through your routine and check out those moments. Now, when you want to lead a progressive link properly, for example, Graham, take your left toe, turn it in, and step in CBMP. So if your foot turns out, you can have a problem. Turn it in, feel the knees, the thighs themselves. It's almost like the body's a bit twisted. Now, when you turn, by putting your right foot to the side and slightly back, you're going to notice as you lower that right, I'll just do it this way. As I lower my right heel, and put my weight into that foot, my side can come back. So I can actually have my right side into my my heel properly and be in promenade, and then I can move with strength. So this is the key about foot positions, okay? Setting them up properly helps you to create the very strong reflexive power of a progressive link. Okay, so go practice that and let me know. All right, what's up, Dara? We've got 2 more to go and then we're out. Okay. So that's good. Listen, guys, I like how you've got much better timing. Now, what I want you to do in your foxtrot, pay attention to this. We'll talk about this in the masterclass a bit more, but I need you to understand how to use side leads more. So, for example, let's look at your feather really quickly. So, when you step forward, Peter, on the right foot, okay, take the weight into that leg. So, first of all, the knee, right? Let's look at the knee. So, take your step forward on the right foot, not the preparation step. Flex your knee towards the toe. Once you've hit that position, I want you to just close your left foot for a minute. Now, straighten your right knee and feel when you straighten it that your left side is going to come through because of that. So the two link together. So when I step forward and I straighten that knee properly, it's going to pull my left foot and my left side through. So if I do it this way, right? So I go 1, 2, 3. So it's like my right side gets left behind a little bit. The importance of that is vital, right? Because foxtrot is a linear dance, right? Like it keeps moving through and past the feet. We rarely close the feet like in the waltz. You're closing like all the time, right? And it has passing movements too. The point is that when you create a step that needs a side lead, you set it up before you actually take the step. That is what allows you to pass your partner into a feather with ease. A curve feather is the same idea. So you want to feel that you step on the right foot, the knee is flexed. Now, when you start straightening it, you want the left side to come through so you can come around. In terms of the size of your steps, I wouldn't step any bigger, but I would try to articulate your footwork a bit more. So for example, in rise in foxtrot, we go up on one and we rise at the end of, let's say, one and beat two. And once you're up, you stay at that level. You don't continue like in the waltz. So if you can get a little higher on your toes when you have to do, say, a feather, or any step that's going on the toe, rise up a little bit more, but then stay at that level. And you're going to create a lighter look. So the more the foot can be sort of utilized in terms of its rise, the lighter the movement's actually going to look as well. So try that and see how you go. Okay, what's up, Moritz? All right, cool. Dude, your whisker looking, they're looking fire, man. Wow! I need like the little horn. Where's my little horn? Oh, we're doing. Yeah, cool, man. Look, it's what you should send people. Send them that video, right? Just be like, hey, check out my whisks. They'll be like, what the fuck's a whisk? I love this. Now, I'm glad I paused this because if we look at your body, what could you tell me you need to improve immediately? Your upper body posture. So the hip movement's good. And if I just backtrack here for a second, okay, you're going to want to get your weight a bit more over that leg first of all. See, that's not a bad rotation there. Bang, bum, 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 bum. Cool. Yeah, so no doubt you've got the feel for it. So when we look at the, Ulrich, we're coming to you in a minute, man. Let me just go back onto the thing here. Okay, so listen. Good job on your hip action. You've improved dramatically, yeah? Okay. If we look at your upper body now, so upper body rhythm is a more advanced concept, but if you think about it like this, your hip action, you're rotating, you're taking your step. Now, if you look in slow-mo, you're actually finishing with your weight sort of like that. Then you're finishing it as you like do the whisk. You need to make sure that when you go to the side here, you're already over the leg, right? Your weight is up and forward. So think diagonal spine when you're launching into your samba. So we go diagonally forward and up. One, right? Do all the pelvis stuff. Don't change that at the moment. But the weight is already over the leg, yeah? Not here. That's the first part. The second part is think about if I do it in super slow-mo, I want my right side to come across first. I don't want to be following the leg. I want my upper body rhythm, bang, to bring me into the step, and then I'm over the leg. So when I finish the next part, over the leg, yatta, right? Boom, and boom. Now, what that allows you to then do is to start to work your arms a little bit, however you want to do it. Okay, so you can have them out relaxed, or you could move them out to the side, and bum, bum, bum. So if you can start to incorporate a little bit of the upper body, feel the rib cage moving, and then you get over the leg, it's going to be great. Send me a video when you do that. Now, the noticeable thing I want to see next month is you not hunching your upper back. I will warn everyone here, the minute you start to improve your posture, you might lose, quote unquote, the look, yeah? Because often if we collapse our body, we can get greater movement, yeah? Except now I look like a seedy old dude in the club. So I need to make sure I keep a very beautiful, elegant posture. And if it restricts my movement a bit more, that's fine. Because I call that tightening it up, right? Like it actually is going to look better. It's going to look more refined. It's going to look stronger, more elegant, right? And more masculine, very strong. The more you hunch and the more wiggly, the more feminine you're going to look, okay? So as a man, you have to always remember you're dancing as a man. Your body, your energy, your vibe, everything has to convey strength, confidence, dominance, right? All of that has to come through in how you hold your body. So if I wiggle too much, it's going to devalue that. So hold your body tall first and foremost, and then dance everything around your spine. This is the tip that I remember learning that helped the most is I dance all of that rotation, all that movement around my spine. So I'm not like wiggling it. Yeah. Okay. Last one. Let's roll. We're doing good. Let's go. Let's go. Mr. Ulrich, we're coming to you. Here's the video. Here is the long awaited video.
Ja.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to work on a couple things here. Cool, man. So when it, listen. First of all, when it comes to the back checks, okay, you need to go back on your right foot and stretch your left side, okay? So there. You need to take your, and then when you lower the heel, and so if you do another one, you take your left foot back, stretch your right side, okay? So we're stretching our sides. So boom, boom, turn, turn. Okay, that's going to fix a lot. Having said that, I like your questions because, again, they're smart questions, but they're not the thing you need to work on this month. I want you to work on your frame. Your frame is key. So listen, if I have my arms like this and I do exactly the same technique, look at the difference. Okay, so it's no good, is it? I need to make sure my frame is excellent. So what are you looking for? The elbows, first of all, need to be just below the shoulders and a horizontal line, and that doesn't change because you're checking. All right, the right hand is down, the left hand is there. Your lady, she needs to she needs to not lean back, but she needs to create more of a curve so she can stay with you. Listen, ladies, you have to make sure you put your weight towards the balls of your feet so you can lift your body up towards the man to stay with him. You stay with him through your right side. Through those checks, you should be feeling where he is. You should be able to feel where his body is because you've got the natural curve, yeah? Okay, but guys, you have to provide the house for it. So your frame needs to be in this position, turn and turn. And each time you turn from your center without your arms doing that. So if you can't do much of it because you're inflexible, then just go to where you can, but make sure you turn the body. See, I'm not turning my arms, I'm turning my body as an example. If I do pendulums, this is not a pendulum, right? Pendulum is legs, okay? And then I swing through, keeping the body up. Quick open reverse. You need to lower and take all the 4 beats. So what you're going like slow, slow, quick, quick. So you want to feel that you use your body weight. The problem with slows is people hear the word slow and they dance slowly. You need to make the movement consistent. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you move into the next bit. But I feel that your movement will be much better if overall you had a better carriage in your upper body. So if you've got your frame in a nice light position, yeah? If you've got a lightness in your carriage, meaning that your arms are not hanging down. I have a pet peeve when I hold someone's hand when I dance, right? Doesn't matter what the dance is, because we can both be holding. You can't see this, but I can feel like the arm is heavy. So one arm is down and I'm sort of supporting it a little bit. Now I'll move my hand away. The hand stays there. But the funny thing is, when I hold it, it feels heavy. Now it's weird because it's not being heavy because she's like, just let it go. It's heavy because the body's sagging. So what you have to practice is lifting from the inside upward always. So no matter what your knees do, there's a lightness in your carriage. The frame and arm is light. The other thing is too, between the arms, there isn't 80% of weight here and 20% here, right? So it's like 50-50 in terms of its feel. So if I turn my body like this, I should not feel the lady's collapsed in my right arm because of that turn. She needs to hold her damn body up. And the same for me as the man. I can't turn here and push down. You understand? So you need to practice slowly where you start to feel, oh, this step, we're collapsing. So maybe we do less shape to have a better structure being the frame. It is the way you're going to improve it. I knew if I held you and did this with you, you'd be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because the feeling of being light and balanced in your arms because you're holding yourself up changes how you dance completely, right? And so often it's not the technique of the step, it's the way that you're holding your body through the step. Like I said at the beginning, as part of today's lesson, it's not what you dance, it's how you dance it. Okay, so I'd like to thank all of you for being here. You need to shoot me some more videos for next month. Now, I do have some very, very exciting announcements to make about the actual core of this membership. You'll have been with me for ages. I'm really, really grateful for all the support. And as always, the market's changing. There's always people wanting to dance, but I'm keeping an eye on how things are working and how my business is working, and I'm going to make changes as I need to and as necessary, always keeping you all in mind. So no, I haven't shut, but I will be making some changes. Q&As I'll still keep doing in a different way, but I'm going to add some things into the membership for you all, and I'll let you know what that means. So keep an eye on the updates coming your way. But in the meantime, thank you for coming. Make sure you see me on the YouTube channel, and I will catch you in next month's live stream.